Hello, ghouls and goblins! Coming to you from a Halloween high school party in the late 80s, early 90s in Burbank, California. This is Film versus Film. I'm your host, Quinn Boys, and I am a horror film fan who's seen over 24 scary movies in my lifetime. I'm dressed up right now, actually, as the little girl from The Ring. No one will talk to me. And not even my co-host.
Yeah, we're in sometime between 1988 and 1993, so no one understands the reference of your costume. They do not understand the reference of mine. I am Pinky from Next Friday. Everyone seems to think I am Rick James. Yes, it is me, Leonard Smith, juror. That's right. There's nothing scarier to a black man than some jurors. We're not trying to go to jail. I'm here. We're having a good time. And one of my favorite things about being here right now is this soda right now that is mixed with my alcohol. Pure cane sugar, no high fructose corn syrup.
Yeah,
good times.
We're not exactly sure when in time we are, but we can tell by the hairstyles and the flannel and the big hair that it's probably late 80s, early 90s. We're at a Halloween party.
The music is great.
The music's very good, no one. You're right. No one gets my costume, but they're gonna in like 15 years. They're gonna see this little girl from The Ring costume, and they're gonna be like, "This guy was ahead of his time."
Yeah, man.
I'm wet.
You're pretty wet. My hair is dripping right now.
I'm not as wet as you are. Yeah, with the hair.
I think I may inspire someone to talk about this hairstyle to Quentin Tarantino, and he might write Pulp Fiction because of the way I'm dressed right now.
I thought you were Rick James as well, to be fair. And I've seen Pinky because you made me watch Next Friday, so I should have known. But you look great, Leonard. We're here, as always, to talk about our favorite films, answering a different prompt each week to see what our collective film experience growing up provides for us. This week, it's Halloween, so we only have one possible prompt.
And that's a Halloween movie. You know, if you're listening right now, it's either the day before Halloween. Maybe you just decided to save this for an actual Halloween day. It's a full moon out on Halloween. It's going to get extra spooky in here. So we each decided to choose our favorite Halloween movie. Quinn went with a very great traditional choice, I feel like. My choice, a little bit different. My film was Donnie Darko.
Donnie Darko. Tell me about it. I mean, I just watched it, but I mean, I had not seen this movie before.
I don't know how you hadn't seen this movie. I feel like white people love this movie.
It is a very, Jake Gyllenhaal being a troubled teen youth going crazy in a suburb. It seems very like white people problems movie. Yeah.
This movie came out in 2001 and it just literally got buried by the times. I don't know if that was the best way to use to describe that. But it came out in October of 2001 and there's a plane crash type thing involved.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was the movie that wanted to be watched the most at the time. But I didn't watch it till a few years after it came out, and it just fit perfectly with the way I was feeling at the time. I was a very, at the time as they called it, emo.
It's a very emo movie.
It's a very emo movie.
What was
very sad boy movie.
What was Leonard Smith Juror like as a young emo child?
I mean, I wasn't your typical emo. I still was very vibrant and wore colors, but I was sad on the inside. I was a hopeless romantic, and when you're a hopeless romantic at a young age and you're kind of not the prettiest guy in the room, sometimes you get sad, you know? And this movie was great. And it was like, man, he gets the girl. So Donnie Darko is a young boy. He's about 16, 17. He is living with his parents in Washington, D.C., in the Washington, D.C. area. He's from the basically Quinn Boys nuclear family home. 3 children. 3 children. He is not the oldest, and he's the middle child. He has some mental issues where he's seeing a therapist and he doesn't necessarily fit in very well with his family.
Yeah, and it's 1988. Sorry, just to cut it. So that's a little bit more stigmatized than I think it would be today, or even in 2000, which they reference a lot. Like, oh, he's seeing his therapist. Like, he's like, that's how they're telling us that he's troubled.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, he's very much
trouble.
He is
in
he
their
should be going to see a therapist. So it's like it's cool in the fact that it's like, all right, well, this isn't your typical movie that you see about like some teenage boy in high school. It's not the typical story that you're used to. It starts October 2nd. It's leading all up to a Halloween party. So he sleepwalks. He has these different issues, and he's seeing these premonitions. He's having these dreams where he's looking forward to a certain date. The time is counting down. He thinks it's to the end of the world. That's what he's told. And we find out that it's basically the end of his world. So he's out sleepwalking as he does, and he comes home from the golf course that he falls asleep on, and a plane engine has fallen into their house, directly into his room where he would have been sleeping if he was there in his bed, and he would have died. And he doesn't. He goes on to meet a cute girl, new girl at school. Things happen. He does more sleepwalking shit, more premonitions. Eventually Halloween comes, and his girlfriend dies, and he finds a way to go back in time to save her life to where they never meet, because they meet the day that the engine falls into the room. So he gives up his life. He gets to still experience the love and the courtship and the companionship of them becoming a relationship and having her, but he also still gets to save her life. And there's an interesting part where his parents are talking, and they're laying in the bed, and he's like, "You remember what's Ricky blah 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 from high school? Remember he died on the way to prom?" And everybody said that he was he was a troubled kid and that he was doomed, like it was basically his destiny. And he was like, "That could have been Donnie. That could have been our Donnie." And that's literally who Donnie is. It was his destiny to die. Basically, I feel like that's what the movie is saying, but he still got to experience this love, and he got to have sex before he died.
Hey.
Because he was a virgin, and he gets to have sex like one time, and then he dies. And it's just like the most sad boy, hopeless romantic bullshit you could watch.
You're totally reframing this movie in a way. This sounds like a Taking Back Sunday album the way that you're... And Leonard...
It's got a great soundtrack, too.
I don't know if you're sweating because you just described the whole plot of this very complex movie, or if that's just all the activator in your Jerry curl, but...
It's a little bit of both. Yeah. Also...
You're burying the lead, though.
I'm burying the lead?
Yeah. You talked about the whole Donnie Darko movie, and I think the thing that most supports your argument that this is a Halloween movie, because I will say I hadn't seen it. I knew it was like kind of a scary movie, but I don't think about it as a specifically Halloween movie, except for one thing, which you failed to mention, is his premonitions come to him in the form
of a fucking dude in a rabbit costume.
Of a dude scary in a scary-ass rabbit costume.
And his name is Frank. I completely missed that point. I forgot about that part. But yes, I was talking to a friend, my friend Rod Benson, and he was like, Donnie Darko is not a Halloween movie. And I'm like, it is a Halloween movie.
Thank you,
Rod. The entire movie takes place between October 2nd and October 30th.
Yeah, but weirdly, and this is going to be, I think, the crux of the debate, because as always, we're not talking about which movie is better, and we'll see when we get to mine. We're talking about which movie is kind of the more appropriate Halloween movie.
You're correct, because my movie is clearly better.
I think I'm okay giving you that, but I will say that it doesn't strike me immediately as a Halloween movie. There's not like... I think it takes place in Virginia. I think it's like Middlesex, Virginia or something. So yeah, like right outside DC, like you say. But, Virginia has seasons. There's not like, you don't get the feel of, there's not like the leaves in the ground kind of kids trick-or-treating. Yes, the movie does take place all throughout October. It ends on Halloween.
And see some trick-or-treating. You see some costumes.
You see a little bit at the end, but it doesn't have that. It's more of a psychological thriller kind of a film, which 100%. I think, and I could be wrong here, but I think would be like... When I think of Halloween, it's like witches and ghouls and goblins. It's not
speaking
like
of Halloween and witches, what was your film, Quinn?
My film, Leonard, was the 1993 Bette Midler classic, Hocus Pocus. Okay? Hocus Pocus, a story about 3 witches played by Kathy Najimy, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Bette Midler.
Great casting. Amazing casting.
Coming back from from the dead to haunt a small Salem town in Massachusetts because they've been awoken, and they
not Salem, Illinois.
Is it Salem, Illinois?
No, I'm just making it check.
You threw me off. Now I'm trying to. I mean, the plot is so simple; it's impossible to forget. Basically, simple. A virgin. So we got 2 virgins.
Has to light a candle.
We got 2 virgins in this movie. Played by a young man named Max, lights the black flame candle and reawakens the Stepford sisters. What were the Sanford sisters?
Sanderson sisters.
Oh my God. We got to redo this, Leonard. The Sanderson sisters, they get reawoken from the dead and they cause havoc, but it's a comedy. They are witches. They're looking to suck the lives out of children to regain their youth. So
they want to suck all the children.
All right. They're looking to suck the youth out of all of the children in town so that they can once again be young and beautiful. It's just classic Halloween hijinks ensue. There's an undead zombie whose mouth has been stitched shut, who can't talk, who kind of like runs after the protagonists like a Frankenstein. There is a talking black cat who is the
Thackeray Binks,
who is the embodiment of a little colonial boy who was
he's the embodiment of a boy who just watched his little sister die.
Oh, you're going to come after Thackeray for that?
No.
Thackeray tried to save her.
No. I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm saying like this. He literally is a tortured soul.
Oh, I thought you were saying.
Oh yeah, no. Fuck Thackeray. Man, fuck that motherfucker.
I would have saved her.
I would have saved her. Nah. Okay.
I mean, it's I'm trying
very
to think
Halloween.
what more to say about this movie because there isn't. I mean, that's the plot, and it's 90 minutes, if that, 85 minutes of movie of just them wreaking havoc throughout the town, but it's all comedic. It's not really scary, although if you are exposed to this movie when you're a kid, like when I was, there are some moments.
The little girl dies in the first 5 minutes.
There's enough chills to make it a kind of all-encompassing Halloween experience. You watch it today, totally. It's a nostalgia play. It's not scary,
yes, it is.
But it is still funny. I think it holds up, and I think it's the ideal Halloween movie because you can watch it with people. You know what? Every Halloween. Sorry,
you can't watch this movie before October or after October.
Correct. It only lives in this month. I 100% agree with you. But you know the problem of watching, like when I'm trying to watch a Halloween movie, when you're trying to watch a Halloween movie, there's always that one person who's like, I don't like scary movies. I can't watch a scary movie. We can't watch The Shining. It's too scary. So this is a good, everybody can enjoy Halloween compromise movie. You're going to tell me why you didn't enjoy it, but I'm telling you now that
I mean, yeah, before we get into the criteria, I'm going to tear this movie apart.
Please.
First of all,
Leonard, if you don't believe, you better get superstitious, okay?
Bette Midler's character literally has these supernatural witch powers. She's basically like a mutant, and she uses them she only uses them like very sparingly. I'm like, why don't you just do that from the jump? Why are you just shocking the kid after the fact, after all this other shit? Just do that at the beginning and eat the child. Like, what are you doing? Like, a lot of the things that, like, you're scared of them about, they don't use their powers to the full advantage. And it's like, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, if you're trying to follow this movie logically, you're going to come into
the
quite a
whole
few
zombie
things.
Character has no free will, no choice. He has to chase after the children. Mm-hmm. And as soon as he grabs the children, as soon as he grabs Max, the child, and he pulls his knife out, he cuts his own mouth open and he's like, fuck you. You suck. I hate you. It's like, well, then why the fuck were you chasing the children the whole time?
I think he was chasing them because he couldn't speak. He couldn't communicate, and he looks like an undead zombie, so no one is letting him get close to them to say, hey, hang on, I'm good here.
Except for the whole point where she's like, go after him. He looks at her like, God damn it, I don't want to have to go after him. But you said I had to go after him, so I'm going after him. And then as soon as he gets, he's like, nope, I'm doing what I want.
We should say that the undead zombie is named Billy Butcherson. He's played by Doug Jones, who's like that famous creepily thin guy who's like monster in like Guillermo del Toro movies and like all sorts of... Oh, that's
who that is?
Yeah, the dude with like the eyeballs in his hand palms and stuff.
That was his beginning?
Yeah.
That's dope. Also...
He actually gets lines in this movie.
Also, the fact that no other virgin tried to light this goddamn candle for 300 years.
It's a curse. Everybody in town knows it. In fact, it's because, and there is like we're recording this podcast in Burbank, Leonard.
He's from California.
He's a California kid, and this was like 1993.
It was so funny.
So there was a lot of like people that are like,
roast him and you tie-dyed, weed smoking, California burrito eating,
heavy East Coast, West Coast, but like the two bullies who are like Bulk and Skull from Power Rangers or like Bill and Ted or something. They're like, California, like everybody, they want his kicks. Yeah, Hollywood.
One kid thinks he's black, and the other kid thinks he's like fucking in Greece.
This is another one of
They're like, all right, what's the two bad tropes that we can play, but it's still kid friendly.
This is another one of the movies that I've given to you in which I don't think there are any black people.
There's not a single black person in this entire film.
There's a black cat, but it's the soul of a white boy. But before you get all smug and high and mighty, and I see you getting, there is no black people in Donnie Darko, which you gave me.
Fuck.
So Yeah,
right?
so we have to table that.
Hold on. Doug Williams is on the screen at one point. The quarterback for the Washington football team.
Oh, when they're watching football on TV.
Yeah, watching football on TV.
Oh boy. Yeah, we picked very different movies, but I mean,
well, black people don't do Halloween. So
what do you mean black people? Oh damn!
I just thought about what is that? Medea, Boo,
Medea's Boo or Boo 2?
There's like 2 of them, and like the fact that white people were like, "Oh, I'm going to go see this," I was like, I hate life.
Did white people see Medea's Boo?
There was something about the Boo movies where white people were like, we get to laugh at black people, and it's cool.
I haven't seen them, but
good. I'm glad you have it. Okay, so yeah, your movie is super fucking Halloween. It's like if you want the most Halloween movie, you set that shit in Salem, Massachusetts.
Set it in Salem, Massachusetts on Halloween. Everyone's like riding their bike over crunching leaves, and they're riding it through a graveyard, and there's witches chasing them.
And it's not too scary. It's like
cats.
The Halloween movie that is for everyone and isn't a horror movie.
Remember when the little girls steal the witches' brooms because they're trick-or-treating and they just leave them against the fence? And then at the end of the movie, they're like raiding a closet. And so like Sarah Jessica Parker has a mop and Kathy and Jimmy has like the vacuum cleaner.
It was a perfect joke because it came out where she just had a regular broom. Yeah. Then it came out with a mop, and then finally she comes out.
And then the little kids are like, whoa. And then they, because it's a cheap Disney movie that they didn't have the budget for, they just like do that like whoosh effect where like the little kids get on their brooms off screen and just like shoot up into the sky. Yeah, the whole physics of the riding of the brooms also didn't make sense. And the fact that they couldn't touch hollowed ground on the cemetery. And at the end, she falls onto the thing and she's just walking on the ground in the cemetery. I was like, they weren't allowed to step foot on the cemetery the whole time, but now... There's a lot of rules that don't make sense. But the most laughs that they get are like from the fish out of water moments where like they think they see pavement for the first time because they were killed in like the 1700s or the 1600s or something. And so they see pavement and they think it's like a black river, and then like
push her in. Yeah, they push the youngest sister in.
Yeah, like great rapport between that. Like Sarah Jessica Parker plays like the ditzy.
The jokes are great. There are a lot of funny jokes. It's good. The writing wasn't terrible. Obviously, they trying to make everything work. They were trying to get all the little tropes in there.
Yes.
So it was just like, for what it is, I told Quinn, I was like, I still hate you for making me watch this, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
No, it's fun. I wish I watched it with you, man.
It was fun. Oh, hold on. Oh, my God. I just got some activator in my eye.
Oh, shit.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's a situation.
Oh, shit.
I would help you out, but I'm just wearing a smock.
I'm gonna get out with some water. Oh, my God. This is clear Pepsi. Oh, it's clear Pepsi.
Clear Pepsi?
It's not water.
Oh, my. So I think that means it's probably 88, probably. Maybe
Clear Pepsi. I think Clear Pepsi came out. We don't have laptops right now, so we're just recording this on a tape deck.
We're recording this in a series of 8 tracks, which we'll stitch together later.
We'll make it work, guys. We'll make it work.
Someone's playing Spin the Tail on George H.W. Bush. Pin the Tail. I don't know 80s references.
How drunk are you right now, Quinn?
Pretty drunk. All right, so let's just get into the criteria. I mean, influence on pop culture, as always, is our first one. Let's just talk about that. We'll go through them as we go. It's interesting. We'll get to this more when we talk about stats. Neither of these movies were hits in theaters.
No, they were not.
So any kind of pop cultural value is like from TV replays or DVD rentals or whatever. So it's not like there was like a big like moment when these movies came out.
I don't think either one of these films really even had a chance at being big in the box office. But we're talking about pop culture and
the bunny costume, just that kind of like glazed over look, or Jake Gyllenhaal kind of leading with his forehead, like staring into the screen. I feel like that, that's a very kind of iconic image from the movies. I feel like more so than anything else.
They used great music, so I feel like just people know just the talk of the soundtrack for the movie.
That's true, more so than anything else, except for Gary Jules' Mad World, which was like a huge hit because of this movie.
Yeah, and they actually don't. It's not the original; it's a cover because they could.
Right, it was an old Tears for Fears song.
It's not actually Tears.
It's a good '80s soundtrack.
It's amazing. This also why I love this movie so much. It was like one of my first like exposure to like real like different '80s music. Mm-hmm. And I love all '80s music, and that's probably one of the reasons why I have such an affinity for this film is because of that. It was like this and Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
Sure.
They both were set in the 80s. Great 80s soundtracks. It was like that and Scarface. But
there's that sequence.
Hocus Pocus has a pretty... I feel like it has... As far as Halloween goes and this time of the year, it has hella pop cultural influence.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say there's a lot of like... memeing about it that goes on around this time of year, but I'm trying to think now.
I know
picked
a
this
girl.
Movie.
I don't know if it's still anymore. At least I knew a girl that her cat was named Thackeray.
Thackeray? I mean, that's got to be That's got to be Hocus Pocus.
I already know who it is now.
What? It's okay, man. It's the 80s. She hasn't been born yet. All right, you don't know.
Oh yeah, good. That's not. She has been born, but it's okay.
Oh, now you're giving away her age. All right, so I mean, I think like. The sisters, I mean, like Bette Midler in this movie is herself kind of like, I think if you see Bette Midler in this movie, you kind of like, oh yeah, Hocus Pocus. But I don't know that there's like one moment for me, but I've seen this movie a million times. I'm not the right person.
They both have cult followings, but they're just so very different.
I think of her singing I Put a Spell on You as kind of like that version of I Put a Spell on You is sort of, the Black Flame Can. Okay, so we're in quarantine right now, Leonard, as we have been throughout the duration of this podcast. I mean, not now, it's the 80s, but when we go back to our normal
90s,
time,
wherever it is.
Because a bunny rabbit told us that we got a chance to do the last 32 years over. But when quarantine started, there was a lot of like, okay, which virgin lit the black flame candle and fucked everything up in 2020 for it? Like I saw sort of stuff. So I feel like the black flame candle a little bit is kind of like a catch-all for like
I've never really heard that.
I don't think it's that strong, but I think my razor sharp Hocus Pocus eyes immediately pick that out of like I know what this reference is. I just feel
like when you think of Halloween and you think of movie, you think of fucking Hocus Pocus.
Mm-hmm. Wow, you're making my case for me.
It's funny. I feel like the new Hocus Pocus just came out. Hubie Halloween. I feel like that is this time's Hocus Pocus.
Well, which we should say before we decided to do Hocus Pocus versus Donnie Darko, Leonard and I counteracted each other by both giving each other Hubie Halloween. Yeah. And we both watched it.
It was a boner.
We loved it.
It was a boner.
Is that his thing from the movie?
Yeah.
He says it was
his
a boner.
Mom thinks she's like, I got this shirt from the thrift store. It was only $3. And so it's the beginning of the movie. So the running gag is she wears shirts that she doesn't realize what they say, and the shirt says boner donor. And he's like, what? And Hubie's like this pathetic 44, like 50-year-old man that still lives with his mom, and everyone in the town. He lives in Salem. They live in Salem, Massachusetts. Okay. And everyone in the town just like picks on him, just like they're so mean to him. It's like I felt bad for him. And he's like, well, I don't know what a boner is. And she's like, oh, I think a boner means when you make a mistake. So for the rest of the movie, whatever he actually means to say mistake, they say boner.
Adam Sandler, you've done it again. So influence on pop culture.
I feel like it's kind of a wash, but if it were to go I feel like it's a slight edge over Donnie Darko as far as Halloween pop cultural influence.
Okay, good. We can give it to that. That's fine. I'm happy to take
not
this
like
point.
Overall pop cultural influence.
But I'm going to say you're kind of like leaving your emo brothers and sisters
I know.
floating without
it is very it has huge pop culture reference as far as emos go.
So many YouTube videos of like the best like
Hawthorne Heights
pictures of Robert Pattinson have been set to Mad World by Gary Jules. I mean,
Hawthorne Heights would not exist without Donnie Darko.
I don't know what that is. So
you were an emo, my friend.
Moving on to number 2, how well does it hold up? Funnily enough, like Donnie Darko. So I hadn't seen this movie before. It's great. It's a really, really good movie. I mean, this is one of those blind spot movies where it's like, I think we all have them where you're like, I haven't seen The Godfather. And people are like, you haven't seen The Godfather? And I don't think Donnie Darko is The Godfather, but I think for people our age, that's kind of one of those formative movies. It's like saying you haven't seen The Matrix or saying you haven't seen whatever, where people are just you haven't seen Titanic, or maybe that's not a good example. But like, it's those movies where people just expect you to have seen them a little bit.
Yeah. And I didn't see this when it came out because I was like 12, 13, but I saw it when I was probably like 19.
Seems like no one really saw it when it came out. Yeah, and again, we'll get to stats, but like there is that. When I was watching, I was like, this movie is great, and it holds up great. I mean, I guess you could say a little bit. I mean, it was made in 2001. It's set in 1988. So again, a little bit of the therapy sessions and stuff that might be a little bit outdated. I don't know, but
like, I mean, when it's a period piece.
Yeah,
I appreciate it when they try to make it believable for that time.
And Jake Gyllenhaal commits, like in that scene where his therapist puts him under hypnosis, and he's like talking about, because he doesn't realize it's just stream of consciousness, and he's talking about like being really turned on by Christina Applegate and married with kids. And it's like it's weird, but it's like, oh no, I'm not saying it's actual psychotherapy, but I'm just saying like the scenes feel like there's a weight to them. They took them seriously while understanding that this was a movie about a boy who was talked to by a giant bunny rabbit who tells him the future. So
exactly. And the fact that they're like these rich white kids and there's the Asian girl and they're just like super mean to her.
Oh, I had a note about that actually.
And I was like, it was like, damn, this is so fucked up. But it was like, kids are fucking mean, man, and they're racist, and they were racist back then, and they're still racist to this day. People are.
I literally wrote down this movie like better than almost any other movie, and I know it's 88, but this could have very easily been when either of us were in high school, I'm sure.
Yes, for sure.
It effectively captures how awful kids are in high school. Like, Donnie is like, quote unquote, troubled. We know that from the beginning, but his friends are like dicks. They're like saying racist shit. They're saying just like sexist shit. They're talking about like the Smurfs, like Smurfette only.
He's just like, you guys are fucking idiots.
Yeah, Smurfette is only around so that she can have sex with all the other Smurfs and stuff, which is like, it's terrible. But it's like, I remember conversations like this in high school.
I was a fucking idiot in high school. I feel like I had more awareness than that, but that's what I appreciated. It just felt real.
But even Donnie is aware of it. Like you mentioned the Asian character who she's like an exchange.
Chang, I think. Chang.
I think she's like but it seems like she's an exchange student or something. Like she's ostracized for sure, but she like hangs out with them at the bus station the bus stop waiting for the bus, and Donnie's friends are just awful, and Donnie just does nothing about it. And then like at one point he comes up to her and he goes like, at some point it will be better for you or something.
Yeah.
And it's
like at one point he's just
not
like,
helping
leave
this
her
person.
alone, but he doesn't do it all the time.
Yeah, he says it once. He's like, leave her alone. But it's like he doesn't, and it's like that kind of bystander effect, which I think plays into a lot of the other themes about the movie. Like this bunny rabbit, Frank, is telling Donnie to do these effed up things, but it winds up being for good cause. Like he tells him, Patrick Swayze's in this movie, Leonard. I didn't know that. He plays a like self-help guru who we later find out is a pedophile. And the rabbit tells him to burn down his house because Donnie gets the sense this guy's a fraud. And so maybe it's his own subconscious telling him or whatever, but it winds up coming out that in burning down his house, the firefighters who put it found a stash of child pornography. So it's like weirdly a good thing. So you see him start to feel like his crazy delusions are part of a greater purpose, and there's a reason for it.
And then the whole thing with Sparrow, the
Grandma
Death, and then it's also, I just now thought about it too, it's funny how Frank is telling him to do all these things. It literally just came to me when you were saying that. And I mean, I understand why Frank wants to tell him to do all these things, because he fucking kills him.
Right.
Frank doesn't want to die, so if Donnie dies, Frank doesn't die.
Yeah, there's that great scene where he's in the movie theater with his girlfriend. They're the only two in the theater, and his girlfriend is asleep. And Donnie looks over to his left, and Frank is sitting like 2 seats over and 1 row back. And he's like, take off your mask, take off your head, your bunny head. And he takes it off, and it's this guy who's got a bullet lodged in his eyeball. And we don't know who he is. And it turns out that like the time travel element of this movie, I still don't 100% know if I understand it, but like it's very interesting that we meet this character later and he becomes someone who Donnie winds up shooting, and that's the reason why we see him in the bunny costume.
Because of fucking bitch ass Seth Rogen and his hoe ass friend.
Seth Rogen's
like,
in
God, just thinking about those characters just make me so angry. It's like, how can someone just be that evil and mean? And there are people out there who are like that, who just like are fucking crazy. I mean, obviously they probably have issues at home that caused them to do that, but it was just like, damn. It was great. It was just like I felt everything held weight. It was like it was good.
Yeah, similarly, I mean, you can disagree. Maybe you do disagree, but like Hocus Pocus, I think, again, the fact that these are both cult movies, I think, speaks to like Donnie Darko is set in a specific time, but it doesn't really matter. And Hocus Pocus is set in the time that it came out, 1993, but it doesn't really matter. And I think the fact that these movies hold up well and probably hold up better than when they came out is that there's kind of a timeless quality to both of them. I mean, they're not really, it's not like these movies, there's nothing so dated about either of these movies. And I think that's why they're still watched every year.
For sure.
So we can call that one a wash, I think, maybe, unless you had you felt strong one way or the other. I mean,
no.
Go on to category 3, which is the most important category, Leonard.
Was Samuel L. Jackson in either one of these films?
Leonard, it's episode 8 of a 9-episode first season.
Haven't gotten a single goddamn Samuel L. Jackson film.
We put this category in here because we were so sure that Samuel L. Jackson would be in many of our movies.
Yeah.
He's not in Hocus Pocus.
He's not in Donnie Darko. I don't know. I think this might be the first time where Samuel Jackson doesn't fit in either one of these movies.
I don't think. I mean, we could come up with some things. I think Gary Marshall is very funny in Hocus Pocus, playing a guy who's hosting a Halloween party dressed as the devil.
Very funny.
His sister Penny Marshall plays his wife.
Gary Marshall, who directed Mother's Day.
So Leonard has a close personal relationship with.
Or I've been right next to him.
R.I.P. And that would have been fun for like Samuel L. Jackson, but basically he doesn't really fit in either of these movies. I think, who would Samuel L. Jackson have even been in Donnie Darko? The bunny?
The principal?
The principal, man. Yeah, that's like
not
boring.
Even the principal.
Yeah. So instead of trying to shoehorn Samuel L. Jackson into this, let's just maybe next. So I'm going to fight you tooth and nail because I need to win this week to make it 4-4 going into the final week.
Okay.
To have a chance to win the season.
Right now we're at a wash.
But I think we can announce, like, we should just do the category for episode 9, the film prompt that we will be debating for our season ender. Well, maybe actually we'll do a 10th episode too. We'll talk about all that. But for our last prompt,
fight episode, we'll have a season 10 episode review, just talking about the punishment and whatnot.
Yeah, but next week we will be talking about, we have to break the curse.
I already know what you're going to say.
Best Samuel L.
Jackson movie.
Let's just put our money where our mouth is. If we supposedly like Samuel L. Jackson so much, but he's shown up in none of our movies.
Wait. No. He's not Edward Scissorhands.
No, I'm the girl from The
Ring.
It hasn't come out.
It hasn't come out yet.
It's going to be very scary. I didn't go to the bathroom after 10 p.m. for like 6 years.
Yeah. No, not boxing. Boxing's going to be dead. No one's going to care about boxing in like 10 to 15 years.
It's all MMA. Mixed martial arts.
Never mind.
That guy's
that
guy's dressed as Hollywood Hogan. He doesn't know what that is.
He doesn't know.
All right. So category 3, a wash. So right now I lead you 1-0 after 3 categories. Let's talk about
It's a very
stats.
slim one. But
Let's talk about stats, Leonard. Donnie Darko cost like $4 million to make $4.5 million, and I think it made $7.5 million. So
hey, that's a win, baby.
That's a win. I mean, it made back its budget.
I'm going to throw out some interesting facts, just a little bit. We're also going to maybe play a game during this category.
Yep.
I feel like with you looking up this, you might see some of the answers that I'm about to ask you.
I'm just going to say before we do real quick, Hocus Pocus cost $28 million estimated, made about $42 million.
Oh, wow.
But that's like a similar, I think, return on investment is like 4.5 to make 7.5. So neither of these were huge hits, and both of them, as we said, got cult status after they were in theaters.
Donnie Darko was going to be
a
straight to DVD,
right.
Or it was going to be released on Stars.
Yeah, except Drew Barrymore. I was reading about this too. Or did you have? Go ahead.
Drew Barrymore. Yeah, she decided to produce it when I guess Kelly was asking her about it on the set of Charlie's Angels, and she decided to produce it as long as she was the role of the teacher that she's in it, and
she's good.
Yeah, she's great in the movie. Everyone casting in both of these films were pretty damn good.
Yeah, I was surprised at how deep the bench was because I always thought of this as like Jake Gyllenhaal and a giant bunny rabbit, but it's Jake Gyllenhaal. Maggie Gyllenhaal plays his sister, and she is his sister in the movie. And Drew Barrymore's in it. That guy from ER, Noah Wiley or whatever.
So whatever.
And Patrick Swayze, as mentioned,
is great. And then what's her name is the mom.
Jenna Malone plays the girlfriend. She went on to do.
She's good too. Who is it?
The actress who played his mother?
No, not his mother. but is it Beth Grant? Who plays the
Oh yes, she's the crazy
the book band. And
yes, she's like the crazy Southern lady in anything that you like need. Like I feel like she's always playing the quasi racist or quasi like Christian Southern lady.
Exactly.
What is?
I remember her from. She played that same exact role in Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah,
that she plays in Donnie Darko.
Yes, we are talking about, of course. We are talking about. It could only be one person. We're gonna have to cut all this out. Beth Grant. Oh yeah, you had it. Beth Grant, who has been in. You have definitely seen her if you're listening. She's been in Speed. She was in No Country for Old Men. She was in Little Miss Sunshine.
Dude, No Country for Old Men was.
She works
so good, man.
She works a lot. Malcolm in the Middle. That's a deep pull, man. I love Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh man, dude, me and my pops used to watch that together. That was such a good show, man.
It was such a good show. It doesn't get the credit it deserves, or like I expect like Netflix should put that on streaming. Everyone should watch it and love it again because it's amazing, and it doesn't fall apart as quickly as you would think. She's only in 2 episodes of Malcolm in the Middle, and you remembered her from that.
She's only in 2 episodes.
Yeah,
it's like the first season though.
You know why she's the mother of one of the Krellboynes. Yeah, Stevie, dude.
Oh man,
remember that episode where Stevie gets lost? Or Malcolm and Stevie and them, like they go to like a carnival after it gets shut down, and Stevie's parents are like super overactive.
There's like the fucking SWAT team comes looking for him.
Yeah, so it's Malcolm and Malcolm's
that
parents.
the episode where he sleeps over at Stevie's house.
Yes.
Oh, that's the episode. Where they sneak out when he sleeps over at his house.
Should have never given him that door.
And then the like Krellboyne, fair, the school fair. Mm-hmm. Where Bryan Cranston brings the meat, he brings like just hamburger patties, and everybody thinks they're eating like vegan bean patty burger patties. They realize it's a real meat.
All the kids start throwing up.
And then like things catch a fire, and then Malcolm has to do his like famous math thing, and then the whole family realizes how smart he really is, and he's just like, God damn it!
It's an amazing show. You used to watch it with your dad. I used to watch it with my mom. She got such a kick out of that episode where they sneak out and they're like Malcolm's parents and Stevie's parents are in the car trying to find him, and Stevie's mom is like shouting out the window, and she's just like, Stevie. She's just like screaming out the window, and then Jane Kasmerick, who's awesome as Malcolm's mom, Lois, was like, you have to leave some space between the Stevies for him to shout back to you so you know that you found him. Amazing show. All right, points to both of us for remembering Malcolm in the Middle. Let's figure out stats. Box office, we don't have much to go on. I'll say Donnie Darko is 86% certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. 80% audience score.
Wow, I'm surprised that the audience score is lower than...
I think some people are probably like, what is this movie? Because it is kind of a trippy headspace. If you watch it and you think it's a giant bunny scary movie, like it's not going to probably be...
There's a lot of dumb people out there.
Yeah. Hocus Pocus is exactly what it seems from its trailer and its title, but it's a 71% audience score, which is pretty close to Donnie Darko, but 37% Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay, I'm just going to say all the Google numbers are always 92%. They're 92% for both. Like, what?
People are less discriminating in Google, I guess, but Rotten Tomatoes is where people... 37% is way too hard. Someone was taking this movie too seriously.
I went on there and reviewed it a few too many times, apparently. That's wild. I'm kind of surprised by that, especially when Homeward Bound is like the same exact thing and same type of like we know who this movie is for, and it was like 92% on Rotten Tomatoes or something, if I'm remembering correctly.
There's
I feel like I'm probably misremembering, but still, I know it was high.
The quotes for Donnie Darko are close to what you'd expect. Salon.com's Andrew O'Hare said, a stunning technical accomplishment that virtually bursts with noise, ideas, and references. I will say, we talked about like 80s nostalgia being in full swing, and it feels like it has for like a decade now. Donnie Darko was way ahead of that, and they did use some cool... I mean, the Tears for Fears cover... But there's also like there's that sequence in the beginning where they're walking through the high school to like keep your distance or something, and it's like that one shot through the hallways, and it's like in slow motion. Like he does a lot of cool.
Oh yeah, that's a cool.
A lot of cool things with them, and so like Entertainment Weekly said excitingly original indie vision. Variety gave it a bad review. They said Donnie Darko has plenty of problems, but most stem from a young filmmaker overswinging on his first time up to the plate and hitting a deep flyout rather than a home run. So,
damn. I mean, I guess that's not too bad. Saying he still gave him some props.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of crazy. This was Richard Kelly, the writer and director's first feature, and it's like I think that's right. And it's like an incredibly confident, weird movie where he got buy-in from a lot of like reputable, Drew Barrymore. There's a lot of movie stars in this movie who are a part of a very weird thing.
I feel like this would be kind of a hard sell,
for sure.
That's why it had to be an indie movie.
Yeah, and it was made cheaply, but looks great.
It looks great.
Yeah. Anyway, actually, I guess it looks like
I got a few questions
Donnie Darko, but okay, yeah, give me some questions.
All right, so second time we see Donnie fall asleep and sleepwalk, he wakes up on the golf course. It's the first time we see Frank.
Yes.
Frank tells him a number. What is that number? There is 4 numbers he tells them. The first number you have to get right.
Yeah.
The second number I think you should get right, but the last 2 I'll give you a little leeway on.
Yeah, you gotta give me some leeway because it's days, hours, minutes, seconds.
Exactly.
And I just watched this movie.
I'll give you leeway on the last 3, but the days you gotta get right.
It's 28 days.
Okay.
6 hours.
Okay.
32 minutes.
Keep going.
And 2 seconds. Like it's
damn.
Don't
You're off by 10 minutes and 10 seconds.
42 minutes and 12 seconds, or 22 minutes and
42 minutes and 12 seconds.
Damn. Okay.
Okay, somebody was paying attention.
Yeah, we think that's the first time he's seen Frank? It didn't seem like the first time he'd ever seen him because the movie starts with him waking up in the middle of the road. Like, this movie was shot in like Calabasas or something, I think. And he's like waking up in the hills on a road, and he wakes up and he kind of is like, oh, thank God I'm alive or something. And then he bikes in pajamas back to his house, and his parents are like, where were you, Donnie? So it's like, it seems like this is happening a lot.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And then it has the where's Donnie on the
on the fridge.
Okay. All right. At what age are you too old to piss the bed?
Is this an opinion question?
It's from the scene. It's from the scene in the movie, The Fear and Love.
I'm trying to 12?
10 years old.
10 years old. It's that little boy, right?
Yep.
He's talking to the boy. 10. Okay. All right.
I got one more question. What book? Okay, actually, I got 2 more questions. What book was banned by the school? They say its name like so many times.
Yeah, they do, but there's
a second book,
right,
that they replaced that has the bunny on the cover.
Is it The Destroyers?
If you get that one.
The Destroyers or The Destructors or something like that?
No.
It's replaced with Watership Down.
That is correct.
But I don't. And so there's 2 versions of this movie. I think what your question is in the original version anyway, but I saw the theatrical, and Leonard, there's a director's cut which
I own.
Yeah, which has like 20 more minutes of stuff, but
which I've only watched the director's cut for the longest time.
So they replaced it with Watership Down. It's like some short story where like these 2 people go in and they like, you think they're going to rob a place and they wind up burning it down, which is kind of what Donnie does with the house later on. So it is burn the money. They do talk about it, but I don't remember what it's called.
All right. It was called. You're gonna like slap your knee when I tell you what it is, because you're like, damn, I knew what it was. Cellar door.
Oh. You're right. Damn. No more beautiful word in the English. No more beautiful phrase in the English language than cellar door, apparently.
I mean, I'd be pretty happy right now, but you look scary as fuck.
Yeah, well,
you did a really good job on that costume.
Thank you very much, Leonard. Thank you. I did dunk myself in a well earlier just for authenticity. I made myself crawl out of it.
You know what? This candy is so good. I don't know what it is. I think
I've just been getting
real sugar.
I didn't think it was a real thing. I've had 2 candy apples with razor blades in them since I got them.
Is this the time period where that happened?
I think this was the time period where people
about that.
Yeah, because when we were trick or treating, those like nobody does that.
Nobody
but I found
that.
2. I've split my tongue in 2 separate places.
Fuck. I thought that was part of the outfit.
No, she doesn't bleed from the tongue.
Jesus, you probably should get that checked out when we're done recording. All right, so you got a little game for me? Is there something you got for me?
Yeah, mine's pretty easy. and this is really a will you pay attention. Then I have a game for you about your movie, Leonard. But
Okay.
I'm just going to give you one question. I'm gonna bank it all on this question. What are the names of the Sanderson sisters? Give me 2. There's 3.
Oh my God.
Leonard's eyes. That's not activator. That is sweat dripping down.
Oh my God.
You can give me the nicknames and stuff. They say these names a lot. Thackeray isn't.
I know. I'm thinking of the names. Danny was the little sister.
Also not a. But yes,
Ice.
Ice is one of the bullies. Names Ice.
Melisandre. That's a witch. Melisandre's a witch.
Melisandre's Game of Thrones, man.
Okay. Wait. I'm gonna say. Oh wait, Gretchen is from my movie.
Donnie Darko. Frank the Rabbit.
I want to say Blythe, but I know Blythe. Is not. All right, hold on.
You're like you're not counting any of these guesses. You got
Sarah.
That's one that you're giving me?
Yes.
Okay, give me 2 more.
Fuck yeah. Okay.
Sarah is named Sarah Jessica Parker plays Sarah. So
Yes,
if you couldn't get Sarah.
That's what I thought. Okay, one more. I can get one more.
Remember, Leonard, remember. Leonard, remember. Remember, Leonard, remember.
Teresa?
Get the fuck out of here. You lose. Teresa. Give me one more name so we can officially put the nail in your coffin.
Mary.
Fuck. You got Mary? No one remembers what Kathy and Jimmy's character's name is. How did you get Mary?
Oh my God.
That
And
Midler,
I'm not cheating.
Leonard is showing me his laptop, which doesn't exist because we're in the 80s. Fuck you. All right. Winifred is Bette Midler. And there's that
Winifred?
Yeah, she's trying to remember where she keeps her book. And the sisters go over there, remember, Winnie, remember, Winnie, remember. All right, shit. You got 2
I
out
knew
of 3.
one of them was like different. But I couldn't remember it.
Here's the tiebreaker then, Leonard. Explain to me. Here's a game for you. Explain to me what the ending of Donnie Darko is. Like what it means.
What do you mean? What it means is Donnie, like he explained, the portals come through your body. So it's like time traveling is seeing your predestined outcome. So it's the way he was able to see time travel was he was seeing what people were already going to do. So basically he could see into the future. That's like him seeing their path is him seeing into the future. So he basically knew he knew his world was going to end. He didn't know it, he knew it subconsciously. And what happened was he accepted his fate. He could have kept living and Gretchen would have died, but he chose to go back into time and accept his original fate and die so she could live.
I guess what I'm thinking of, so the plane engine that crashes through the room that would have killed Donnie in the beginning
his mom
of the movie.
And sister were on that plane.
Yeah, and they say the government, there's references to the government, like the FAA having no idea what the plane was that caused it. Like they're like, we don't know where this jet came from. We have the jet engine. We have no idea. So it's like there wasn't a plane crash that they could tie it to is what they're saying. And then, his mother and daughter, Donnie's mother and sister are coming back from like a dance competition at the end of the movie. And this is October 30th or 31st at this point. And the jet engine falls off their plane and goes through a time portal, which lands it in October 4th or 2nd or whatever.
October 2nd.
Which means it lands in Donnie's room. And Donnie, at this point, has lived through the rest of those 28 days to realize all the bad things that are going to happen. His girlfriend dies. He shoots someone in the eyeball. So he's like, I should just...
he shoots somebody too.
I should just go back and be in that bed so that I can be hit by the...
And Patrick Swayze can continue to be a pedophile.
And I guess his mom and sister probably won't go to that dance competition and all these other things that happen. But I don't understand how he
fired. Drew Barrymore won't get fired.
Drew Barrymore maybe doesn't get fired. I don't know, and I don't understand how he goes back in time because that time portal is in the air, so it's not like he
was on his bike and he ET'd it. Okay, he ET'd it into the portal,
and also like. Why did the bunny rabbit take him out of bed in the first place? It just feel like keep him in bed. Just keep him in bed and he dies and you don't have to go back through the whole thing. Why does he have to see it?
I don't know if the rabbit got him out of bed.
Yeah. Well, it definitely got him out of bed. That's why he wakes up.
He sleepwalks and then that was another part of it. I don't think that was like I don't think
the rabbit
bunny
is
got
meeting him
to sleepwalk. I think that was just another part.
Doesn't he say something when he wakes up where he's like, come follow me or something? There's that creepy voice that like he hears or he sees in his head.
He does, I think, get him when he's like, when he breaks into Patrick Swayze's house, he's like, he's like, you know what to do.
The rabbit is definitely, Frank is directing him in some way.
You're right about that.
So I'm just saying, I understand like the whole chemtrails is like you can look, Donnie is able to see people's preordained path or whatever, but it's like, to what end? Like it seemed cool, but I was like, why not just? This is what happens with all time travel.
Died, and this is like Frank's soul, like you're telling him like this is the only way I can live.
There is that very kind of creepy note at the end when they do the famous Mad World needle drop. It's like all the characters are back to where they were in October 2nd at the end of the movie, and you see Frank. Kind of torturing himself drawing sketches of that bunny costume. So clearly like they're both being haunted by this creature or something. Frank also winds up being like Maggie Gyllenhaal's boyfriend or something, and like we learned that at the very end. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I didn't even realize
it's a very interesting movie. I guess I was just like, this is all time travel movies, right? You just go like, well, if this didn't happen, then this wouldn't have needed to happen at all. It's like
time travel. That's when you can get away with time.
It's like Wizard of Oz. It's like if you believed the whole time, this story wouldn't have been necessary.
And that's how Christopher Nolan was like, how can I do it where it's like I can get away with time travel, but it's not time? I'll just go into the dreams, and then the time sequences between dreams is different, and I can do whatever I want.
I still don't totally understand. I understand the rules of Inception, but if you ever are like explain the last act of Inception to me, I'd be like, I don't know. They're falling in the van the whole time.
I just pray that he's not still stuck in a dream.
Yeah, that seemed like a cop.
The fact that you never see the kid's face, and then he gets to the airport and you still don't see the face.
I want to see that top fall over, or I want to see the credits just roll over it spinning for the last 10 minutes of the movie. Yeah. I don't know. Don't cop out and just cut the credits. Yeah,
that was kind of trash, but it's still one of my favorite movies.
All right, Leonard, let's get towards wrapping it up. Before we talk
Sounds like I won that last one.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. I'll give you stats. So we're tied, 1-1. Do we think Michael Jordan's seen either of these movies? This is also our last few picks have been.
There is no fucking way Michael Jordan watched either one of these movies.
He didn't watch Donnie Darko.
There's no way.
And he didn't watch Hocus Pocus.
He wouldn't let his kids. He wouldn't let his grandkids watch Donnie Darko. He wouldn't let anybody in his family watch Donnie Darko.
Yeah, and then 93, when Hocus Pocus comes out, Michael Jordan's winning an NBA Finals. He doesn't have time for Hocus Pocus. And in 2001, he's gearing up to re-enter. You know, he's an owner. He's a part owner of the Wizard. He's gearing up to relaunch his playing career. He's not watching Donnie Darko.
I want to say if Hocus Pocus has maybe been playing in the background while he was around his children for 2 minutes or whatever, for the little bit of time he was around his children in October. So I feel like there's a chance that Michael Jordan has seen at least 10 seconds of Hocus Pocus.
Wow.
He hasn't seen a millisecond of Donnie Darko. He doesn't even know who Jake Gyllenhaal is.
He thinks Jake Gyllenhaal is Tobey Maguire for sure.
Like
people are like, "Oh, have you seen Jake Gyllenhaal?" He's like, "Spider-Man."
Oh, Spider-Man. I'm more of a DC guy. Myself.
Yeah. He's a total Michael Keaton Batman guy.
Yeah, he's Batman all the way.
All right. So,
I did not know Michael Keaton was a stand-up comic before he was an actor.
Yeah, he was a funny comedian.
He was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it's weird.
I started watching that the Comedy Store docuseries. It started last week.
What is that on?
On Showtime.
Oh, okay.
It's good. Check it out, guys.
Old Michael Keaton foot. I'll check that out. Okay, so probably not enough to tip the scales. You probably didn't see either of these movies. So let's just talk about the fifth criterion, which will probably lead into the winner because we're tied. If we're at a Halloween party like we are right now, Leonard, and it's not 1988 where putting on either of these movies will shock the fellow partygoers to their core because we've exposed them to the future, which is the better Halloween movie? I think it's got to be Hocus Pocus. It's a Halloween. If you just have this movie on and people are partying in the background, because we can't go to any Halloween parties. We had to come 32 years in the past to go to one. But if there was a 2020 Halloween party and you just had Hocus Pocus on in the background when people are mingling, drinking, pin the pumpkin on the whatever, Hocus Pocus is the choice. You're thinking very hard about this, but you don't have a rebuttal.
I feel like maybe the movie Halloween or a horror movie also could play in the background.
I almost picked Halloween. I love the original Michael Myers Halloween movie. Yeah,
Donnie Darko is a good ass film.
For sure.
Very well done. Very well put together. It's the superior movie in this situation. 100%. Could I put Donnie Darko on at a party today, or
maybe you could at one of your emo parties?
No, I don't think I could.
You guys all dancing?
I can't lie. People are like, what the fuck? It's like, oh, no, you got to pay attention. See, the 20 minutes before, it's like, no, that doesn't work.
Was that
Hocus Pocus, you can literally look at it and be like, haha, look at that.
Yeah,
it's
every
stupid.
scene has like a jack-o'-lantern or a black cat or a witch on a broomstick or like, trick-or-treaters.
You could start watching Donnie Darko and he could be accosting Patrick Swayze on stage. I think you're the fucking Antichrist. He's like, what does this have to do with anything right now? What are we watching?
I will say this, the sequences with the bunny, I think you would catch people's attention. Like people would like stop talking and doing what they're doing.
But they're very few and far.
But then when it's like, just Donnie Darko like staring over his eyelids in school while Drew Barrymore, it's like not a lot of it will catch your eye as like a Halloween movie that everyone would want to laugh at or whatever. Which is what I think was your crucial error. If you'd picked Halloween, which, I'm not saying you should, but like that would have been like, it's a slasher movie. I think there are many scary, quote unquote, scary movies you could have gone with here that might have challenged
I could have. You know
Hocus
what?
Pocus
I
for
think
supremacy, but
I'm going to save it because I think, we got Friday the 13th coming up here on November 13th. It's a Friday the 13th.
Oh.
Maybe we should just do a little something special for that.
That would be after next week.
It'll just be like a little bonus episode.
Like a bonus episode of Friday the 13th episode. I'm up for that. We just pick different Friday the 13th movies.
We could just do different Friday the 13th
I've only seen the first. I hate the Friday the 13th series. Are you a Friday the 13th guy?
I am.
Yeah.
I'm
a Halloween guy.
I was a big Friday the 13th guy.
And even if it's like Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, then Friday the 13th for me.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, you get a razor blade?
That was a razor blade.
Yeah, don't eat the apples.
I'm off blood of your shit right now.
Now you know how I feel.
Oh, good Lord. Don't
swallow it.
Oh, too late.
Spit it in the punch.
Too late. For me, I really love Jason, but Nightmare on Elm Street scared me the most.
Nightmare on Elm Street is the scariest idea of all time. You can't go to sleep.
It's like, you can't fucking go to sleep.
Just leave Camp Crystal Lake and Jason will not come after you.
You cannot go to sleep. That's never going to not happen. That shit was scary as fuck.
And
Halloween is pretty scary too, but it's always like that motherfucker's just walking. He's just tall.
Yeah, I mean it's the first, but I like the first of those kind of slasher movies that inspired.
But the way it's presented is done well. That's what's
the shots of like her at school, and then she like looks up and she like sees him like on the courtyard or like behind a bush or something, or like through the laundry hanging over the in the backyard. Like that stuff I remember. It's very simple, but it's still effective. Okay, I mean I think we've covered. there are definitely more Halloween movies that we could have picked. We'll probably get back into scary movies later, a Friday the 13th week.
Man,
but for this week,
your cheap ass, cheesy ass, goddamn W.
Wubbo, Leonard's in trouble. 4-4 going into week 9. This is how we knew it was going to end. We're going to have week 9, the deciding week, best Samuel L. Jackson movie for all the marbles. And
I just love Donnie Darko so much. I shouldn't. You
hadn't
blinded. Seen it. It was a mistake, but I forced my hand and made you watch this film.
Do you remember?
I'm happy I did.
Do you remember that scene in 21 Jump Street where they go back to Jonah Hill in high school and he's got they go back to Jonah Hill in high school and he's got like full like Tears for Fears hair and he's got like eyeliner and he's like very goth and emo. That's how I'm imagining you. I'm imagining you at a Halloween party playing Donnie Darko and dancing to I Write Sins, Not Tragedies or something. Okay.
Oh,
4-4 coming to you next week. Best Sam Jacksonville. Maybe we'll have another surprise. We'll see for the finale of at least the season series, but then we'll have an extra episode 10 to wrap everything up. Maybe some awards.
I think we're gonna do awards for the season. We're gonna choose very good films. We're gonna fucking fight.
We've certainly got a lot to pick from because we haven't used any Samuel Jackson movies yet.
He has 1,000 movies. I'm gonna fucking win this shit because I don't want to watch Green Lantern or fucking Mother's Day.
That's right. They're just a quick restatement of whoever loses has to watch. I don't like weepy movies, and you picked The Boy in the House of Sand and Fog, and
All the Stars.
Fault in Our Stars.
Fault in Our Stars.
And if you lose, you have to watch Green Lantern, which is the worst movie ever made about your favorite superhero of all time, and Mother's Day, which you were in, which I think will be fun for you and will cause you to face a fear, but you seem to be thinking is a punishment. But for now, Leonard, let's finish up at this party, maybe get in our DeLorean and check out some other times. You are pretty confident you don't want to go any further back than 1988.
I don't want to go any further back to 1988. I will go back if you let me make some bets, man. Just let me make some bets.
It would be
Just let me make some bets.
It would be immoral. All right. We'll figure it out. Until then, thanks for listening. We will see you at the cemetery.
The cemetery.